How's it going, gang? It's a final render here, and in today's Fallout 76 video, we're going to be talking about the Secret Service Jetpack. I have finally completed the grind and I've got myself the Secret Service Armor Jetpack, and we're going to talk about how to get it, the grind to get it, and also talk about if it's worth it and what you can do with it. It's a very cool mod and I think you're really going to enjoy this video. But if you do enjoy this video, please go ahead and consider liking the video and subscribing. But if you don't enjoy it, never mind. Hopefully you'll enjoy a different video and subscribe on that one. And we are very near 75,000 subscribers. So if you guys do enjoy it, please consider hitting that subscribe button. But let's get into this video first. So the Secret Service Armor Jetpack is a brand new addition to the game that was added with the Wastelanders expansion, and it is something that people have been very excited about. We first saw it in the second trailer for the Wastelanders update, and it kind of is a game changer in a way, because up until this point, the only way to get a jetpack was on power armor. And that's actually something that a lot of players may not want to do, because power armor actually means you are not wearing all of your fantastic legendary armor pieces that you may have. So people who want a jetpack have either got to commit to power armor or just not bother. But now with the Secret Service Armor Jetpack, we're able to get a really cool jetpack and still have legendary armor pieces. It's definitely a really nice addition to the game, and I personally think it is very, very cool. But final render, you sexy Herculean man stud, I hear your girlfriend shouting across the other side of the room. What can you do with this jetpack armor? Well, you very observant viewer, the most obvious thing you can do is you can jump really high with it. Whenever you jump in the game, you can then press the jump button again to engage the jetpack, and the jetpack will go as high as it possibly can whilst draining your action points. So the more action points you have, by having more agility, the higher and longer you can fly inside the jetpack. You can even use it to survive a fatal fall. NANI? I mean, you can use it to survive a fatal fall. It's very, very cool indeed. But final render, how do you actually go and get yourself one of these jetpacks? Well, in order to get the jetpack, you need to have first unlocked the Secret Service, and you unlock the Secret Service by completing the Wastelanders story. That's when you first get the gold bullion system, and it's when you can buy a lot of the really rare and ultra fantastic plans in the Wastelanders expansion. And in order to get the jetpack, you will first need a Secret Service chest armor piece. Now this is actually the brand new top tier chest armor piece. It has the most resistance in the game and will set you back 1250 bullions. So it's not a cheap armor piece, but as I said, it actually is extremely good for your character. It has an awful lot of damage resistance and will definitely serve you very, very well. And as far as I am aware, you cannot attach the jetpack to any other piece of armor. And once you actually have purchased the plans for the Secret Service chest, you will need to make one. And you'll need to have 8 adhesive, 4 leather, 1 legendary module, 13 plastic, 5 rubber, and 17 steel in order to actually construct the chest piece itself. Now, as I said, that is a lot of resources, but you do get a damn good chest piece, and also it can get legendary effects on it. I was actually able to roll a 3-star legendary. I got a really nice bolstering one here, and that's actually really, really good for this because, as I said, it's already a really resistant chest piece, and this only makes it even better. I also even got an unyielding one, but I'll tell you the truth, I kind of prefer the bolstering one. But anyways, point is, that's a lot of resources. However, if you're actually quite late in the game, having those resources shouldn't actually be too bad. The real issue comes down to how many times do you want to make one before you get a really good legendary one by using the legendary module. But once you get one, you can go ahead and attach a jetpack to it. But to actually get the jetpack itself, you will need to purchase the plan from the Secret Service. And in order to get the jetpack from the Secret Service, you will need to give them a whopping 2,000 bullion. So it is much more expensive than the chest piece, and it is something which you've just got to grind out and just get it over with, really. And once you have got the plan, you will then need to construct it and attach it to your Secret Service armor chest piece. In order to make the jetpack, you will need 17 adhesive, 17 aluminum, 14 asbestos, 9 nuclear material, 5 pure cobalt flux, and 5 pure violet flux. Now again, a lot of resources in there, but it shouldn't be too hard to get the majority of the things. However, some newer players may not actually have pure flux, and in order to get that, you need to actually make the pure flux by launching nukes. However, you might actually be able to trade that with a friend if you really can't get your hands on any. But once you've got that, you can attach the jetpack to the Secret Service armor. It actually goes in the second mod slot for the Secret Service armor, so I believe that means you can still add an additional mod. And then once you've got that, give yourself a pat on the back because you've got yourself more mobility than you had before. And if you have something like the marsupial mutation, then you can jump extremely high. It wouldn't surprise me if there are lots of people rolling with this jetpack once they unlock the bullion. And also a nice thing about it being sold by the Secret Service is that it means you don't actually need any faction reputation in order to get this jetpack. You just need the gold bullion. So just do your dailies every day, go and do the public events, and eventually you can be as cool as me, Final Render, with this jetpack. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. But Final Render, you ripped beefsteak, I hear your sister shouting across on the other side of the room. Is it actually worth the grind? After all, it is 3,250 bullion. Well, I can definitely say that I think it is definitely worth the grind. It gives you a huge amount of mobility. It's really fun. It's still pretty new and novel, so a lot of players do kind of give you a thumbs up when you start jetpacking around. And ultimately, the extra mobility you get from it is something which is really beneficial in gunfights and whilst also exploring. One thing which is important to note though is that it actually does -1 agility from you, so that's something to take into account, but considering the amount of mobility you get from this jetpack, I still think that is worth it. But there is something else which I've wanted to talk about briefly in this video, and that's about the actual grinding in order to get these kind of things in the game itself. Now this actually might be worthy of a video in of its own right. However, I do personally think that the grind for this was just about long enough to still be welcoming, but I don't know if I really want to do anything any longer. Right now, the Fallout 76 kind of end game is about grinding this gold bullion and the reputation. And grinding the gold bullion in of itself isn't too much of a problem because you're doing lots of events and you're having lots of fun with it. But the problem is, you can only cash in 200 bullion a day. Now that might actually sound like a lot, but considering, as I said, getting these 2 upgrades costs over 3,000, it definitely takes a long time, and also considering you can get an additional 300 a week from Smiley, it still takes a while to get some of these things. If you're someone who doesn't have time to play games every day, it's gonna take you months in order to do that if you can only play every now and then. So what I do kind of want to say is, Bethesda, can we please make it so that we have a weekly cap on gold bullion and scrip? That way, people who are working all the time or in school all the time and don't have time to play games can actually go and deposit all of their treasury notes within a reasonable fashion and actually get a decent amount of bullion every time they can play. Rather than playing and just getting a little bit every day, they can just go and get a lot after a few days of playing every now and then, if that makes sense. Because then they can actually go and get these cool things too. But otherwise they're just forced to play every day. And whilst I understand you may want people to play every day, this probably isn't the best way to do it, because really, this isn't rewarding people for playing every day. This is actually punishing you for not playing every day. What I think would be better would be that you had a regular daily login system similar to what you have in ESO or in Quake Champions in order to get people to log in every day, but make it so that the actual bullion is maybe a weekly amount. Maybe even the same for script as well. If you use all of your gold bullion on the first day, then well, that's on you, the player. But to tell you the truth, I do think that would be a much welcomed addition to the game, and I do think grinding for really expensive stuff like this would be much better if we had a weekly treasury note allowance rather than a daily one. So thank you very much for watching this video, people. This has been a really cool video to do. I do love this jetpack. I do very much recommend you get one yourself. It's definitely something to work up to and definitely something to aim for. And even if you don't get it in a timely fashion, hopefully you can still get yourself the Secret Service chest plate. That is definitely a very powerful chest plate for you to go and get. And I also highly recommend maybe even just trying to get some of the other ones as well, because the Secret Service armor is extremely resistant. But however, personally, I'm currently working on saving up for the T65 power armor. But thank you very much for watching. Remember to check out all the cool Patreon people in the description below who help support the channel with their financial donations. You yourself, of course, can also do the same. And I can't wait to see you in the next Fallout 76 video. Hopefully we'll have some really cool news about some cool things coming to the game with Atomic Shop stuff and things. But I can't wait to see you then. Until next time, I've been the Final Render, and you've been the audience. Bye-bye, gang. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.